हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू एग्जाम वर्ट। और आ गए हम एक नए लेक्चर के साथ जिसका कि टॉपिक है इंपॉर्टेंट गवर्नर जनरल एंड वाइसरॉयज ऑफ इंडिया। पर उससे पहले मैं आप लोगों को एक जनरल इन्फॉर्मेशन देना चाहूँगा कि जेएनयू में एमए हिस्ट्री का क्या पैटर्न है। ठीक है, अगर आप लोग जेएनयू में एमए करते हैं, हिस्ट्री में एमए परस्यू करते हैं, तो जैसा कि हमें पता है हिस्ट्री के 3 मेन ब्रांचेस हैं, एंशिएंट, medieval and modern. So JNU provides you the option to master any one of the stream, like MA in ancient history or MA in medieval history or MA in modern history. So whatever you like if you like ancient history, so you can opt for MA ancient history in JNU, or you like medieval more than ancient history, so you can opt for medieval history. I am currently studying in the MA ancient history in JNU. Okay, I have also cracked DUET with the all India rank 66. So that is my brief introduction, and now let us come to the today's topic, which is important governor general and viceroys of India. Again, very important topic for your exams, whether it's CUET UG aspirants, PG aspirants, equally important for both of the exams. Important governor general and viceroys. I will tell you what's the difference between the governor general and viceroys, how the post has changed, why the nature of the post has been changed after 1857, after 1833, after 1773 or 1772, and who are the important governor generals, what are the important events that took place in their reign. Okay, we will discuss all about that. So let's start today's lecture, which is important governor general and viceroys of India. Okay, so we come to our first important governor general, which is Warren Hastings. Guys, Warren Hastings is a very controversial figure in the modern Indian history. Okay, because of his confrontation with the board of directors or the council which he was the president of, he has been in numerous controversies, whether it's been the first death penalty of India. Okay, we will discuss them in the live class because he is a very controversial personality in the modern Indian history. Okay, it will take a whole lot of time to discuss him. So he was the first governor of Bengal, or we correctly say that he was the first governor general of Bengal. Okay, governor general would be the right word to say, because the first governor of Bengal, when the Bengal was created, or when the East India Company has took control of the Bengal, basically they don't have the control of whole Bengal. They have the Fort William that they have created in the Bengal. They have control of that only, and it was under the leadership of Robert Clive. Okay, Robert Clive, which everyone is familiar of his name, the person who has strengthened the roots of British Empire, or who has been responsible for the formation of British Empire in the colonial India. Robert Clive, like, he has a very inspirational story from being a clerk to one of the most powerful people of the United Kingdom of that time. And there are stories that when Robert Clive had left India, he has so much gold and wealth that as many as 50 to 100 ships were required to ship his wealth from India to England. That was the wealth that he accumulated during his lifetime in India. So that was the level of Robert Clive's popularity and his what would we say, like his administrative skills, his military skills, how he has defeated all of the Indian kings in the whether it's Plassey, whether it's Buxar. In Plassey, the world has seen his his negotiating skills. Okay, his administrative skills. In Buxar, the world has seen his military skills, or whether to defeat Britishers' most prominent opponent, the French. How he has defeated French, it's a very interesting story, and we will discuss about him because he is a great personality in his own, but obviously not so great in context of Indian people because he has many stains on his character also. Like he has committed suicide when he went to England when the charges were not proven on himself in the House of Lords. Okay, we will discuss about him in our paid classes. Okay, let's come to the Warren Hastings. So he was the first Governor General of Bengal. During his period, the Regulating Act of 1773, the first prominent act that was passed during the colonial India, the Regulating Act of 1773, which has constituted the position of Governor General. Okay, he has assumed the Governor Generalship in 1773. Warren Hastings. Pitt's India Act 1784. Pitt's India Act 1784. Pitt's India Act. I hope you are writing down all the points that I have been mentioning here. Okay, because these are the points which are very important for your exams. Because CUET can give you points which like Pitt's India Act was passed during Pitt's India Act was passed during whose Governor Generalship? There will be 4 options: Robert Clive, Wellesley, Auckland, and Warren Hastings. Okay, it can be asked in the exams, so don't be confused. Okay, Pitt's India Act 1784. It was passed during the Governor Generalship of Warren Hastings. This is his portrait. Okay, so obviously it won't be asked in the exam. It was just for your reference. Okay, so don't be so afraid or because Britishers have been fond of creating the portrait of themselves because it has been inspired from the Mughal traditions. Okay, we will look into that aspect also, that how Britishers have loved the portraits and landscapes so much because the Mughals have done this. Okay, we will look into it. The next important point during Governor Generalship of Warren Hastings is of the Treaty of Salbai 1782. Treaty of Salbai is very important treaty in the modern India, if we say, because it was the treaty that took place with the Marathas when the internal rife between the Marathas had rise. This treaty took place then, the Treaty of Salbai, the Treaty of Salbai, because at the period of 1782, Marathas were the only formidable opponent for the Britishers, and Treaty of Salbai has given the confidence to the Britishers that now they can extend their empire into whole India. Okay, Treaty of Salbai is an important landmark is an important watershed moment in the modern Indian history according to me. Okay, it has not been any historian's perspective. It's my personal point of view, so don't write it down in your notebooks because it's my personal point of view. If it's important, then I'll let you know. Only that thing you would write in your notebooks. Okay, so it's my personal point of view that it is one of the watershed moments of Indian history. Okay, Treaty of Salbai 1782. Nobody will forget the dates. Dates are important for your exam. Okay, Treaty of Salbai 1782. Everyone will remember. Let's move to the next Governor General. Lord Cornwallis. Very important figure. Very important figure for our modern Indian history and for our exams. Lord Cornwallis. Because he is important. One of the reasons of that thing, because he has come from the American War of Independence. He has previously served as commander during the American War of Independence. If we look at the American history, when American War of Independence took place, he was the commander in general during the American War of Independence, and he has been defeated by the Americans at that time. And because of his royal connection, he got posted in India, but he has strengthened the roots of colonial empire in India. Okay, Lord Cornwallis, nobody will forget him. Okay, nobody will forget him because he is an important Governor General for our exams. Everyone will remember the time period 1786 to 93. Lord Cornwallis. Under his guidance, Cornwallis Code. Cornwallis Code was established. What is Cornwallis Code? Cornwallis Code was I would say like it was a combination of laws of Hindu and Muslim laws. He has consolidated all the Hindu and Muslim laws. They are also called the Gentoo laws. Gentoo-laws. Gentoo laws. Everyone is writing down, I hope so. Gentoo laws. Who has established the Gentoo laws? Lord Cornwallis. He was first to compile the Hindu and Muslim laws to provide us a framework for the judiciary in the upcoming years. Now the upcoming Governor General will work according to the Gentoo laws or the Hindu and Muslim laws compiled. Third Mysore War and the Treaty of Seringapatam. Another important event in the modern Indian history, Treaty of Seringapatam. Third Anglo-Mysore War. Anglo-Mysore War. Who were the parties in Anglo-Mysore War? Tell me in the comments who were the parties of the Anglo-Mysore War, especially of third Anglo-Mysore War. Who were the parties? One is the Britishers. Who were the Britishers fighting for? Okay. Who were the Britishers fighting with? Introduced permanent settlement Bengal. Okay. He is the one who has introduced permanent settlement, and eventually permanent settlement has become the biggest reason for the corruption in the East India Company. Like, you can understand the level of corruption in East India Company. Like, East India Company was one of the most profitable company in the world at that time. One of the most profitable company, not in India, but in the world. But obviously during just in the period of 20 years or 15 to 20 years, they are on the brink of bankrupting. East India Company was on brink of bankruptcy, and they have applied a loan for the company in the British Parliament. Then the British Parliament has passed a law and take over the control of the administration of East India Company. Okay, so don't forget that the permanent settlement has become a root cause of corruption. The permanent settlement, because the English officers were asking for the bribe from the landlords to give them the contracts. Okay, so the money was going to the British officers, not in the company's accounts. How it has drained the resources of the companies, we will study them further in the our paid classes. Okay, let's come to the next Governor General, Lord Wellesley. Lord Wellesley, another important figure. Lord Wellesley, 1798 to 1805. This is the governorship period of the Lord Wellesley. He was the Richard Wellesley. His full name was Richard Wellesley. Because there are two Wellesley that we will read in modern Indian history, so don't be confused. He is the Richard Wellesley or Lord Wellesley. Okay, don't be confused in the two Wellesley that we are going to read in the modern Indian history. One Wellesley we read in the reference of Anglo-Mysore War that we have just read. Okay, he took over administration of princely states through subsidiary alliances. Subsidiary alliances. What were the subsidiary alliances? We will read them further in our paid classes, because subsidiary alliances is a very vast topic, and how it has, and many historians considered subsidiary alliance also a cause to the revolt of 1857. Okay, why many historians consider subsidiary alliance as a cause to the revolt of 1857? We will look into that aspect also, because what the subsidiary alliance, like Britishers give the ruler a, what should I say, they like, for your reference, they gave a blank paper to the ruler and they just say that sign it, we will write the terms, we will write the terms for your empire, just sign it and we will write the terms. It was just like in simpler terms, it is like subsidiary alliance is like this: the Britishers are going to pronounce the terms of the alliance or the treaty. Okay, because each and every external matter of a state, each and every external matter, whether it's foreign alliances, whether it's wars, whether it's treaty with external states, everything the king has to take permission of the British resident that is going to be stationed in the court of the parent empire, parent kingdom. Okay, that is about the subsidiary alliance. So he was the master of subsidiary alliance, and he has taken over control of many states of Indian empire through subsidiary alliance, and how it has grown into such a big problem that it has been a major cause of the revolt of 1857. Okay, the great revolt of 1857. Next point, he established the Fort William College. Now, why the Fort William College is important, I will tell you. Fort William College has been established to train the civil servants. Okay, many of you are preparing for civil services or state civil services. Like everyone has heard about the Labasna, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie. Everyone has heard about it. If you are preparing for civil services or any other competitive exam, many of people have heard about the Labasna, which is in Mussoorie, the Academy of Administration, which is used for the training of administrators that has been recruited through the UPSC exam. Okay, sorry. So the Fort William College is like about the Labasna of that time. All the civil servants that were recruited in the British administration, they have all been trained in the Fort William College in the local languages, so that they can be trained according to the local traditions and in the local languages, so they can communicate better with the local people. Okay, Fort William College will have been established because of that purpose only. Now we come to the last point, which has been taken place in this Second Maratha War. Second Anglo-Maratha War. Anglo-Maratha War. What is Second Anglo-Maratha War? How does it happen? Why does it happen? We will read in our live classes, because it's a very vast topic. Second Anglo-Maratha War, Third Anglo-Maratha War, all the Anglo-Marathas war are important for our exams, and the reasons are more interesting than the topic itself. Okay, and it's a very vast topic, so we'll leave here. Just note that Second Anglo-Maratha War took place during the Lord Wellesley. The man that I'm talking about in the starting, Richard Wellesley, or Richard Wellesley was him, and his brother was Arthur Wellesley. Okay, Arthur Wellesley was the one who fought Tipu Sultan in the Anglo-Mysore War. Okay, Arthur Wellesley was the man who has fought the Tipu Sultan in the Anglo-Mysore War. So don't be confused with me both the Wellesleys. There is one Richard Wellesley, there is second Arthur Wellesley. Okay, Arthur Wellesley is the one who has fought Tipu Sultan. Governor General is Lord Wellesley, the Richard Wellesley. Okay, 1798 to 1805. I hope everyone will remember time period. Okay, let's move to the next Governor General. Lord Hastings. Lord Hastings is the next Governor General. Don't be confused between Lord Hastings and Warren Hastings. Both are different. They have been set apart by around 40 years. There have been 40 years difference between the Lord Hastings and Warren Hastings. So don't be confused by both of them. Lord Hastings is different, Warren Hastings is different. Okay, both are very different. Anglo-Nepal War and Treaty of Sugauli. Treaty of Sugauli, which has been a bone of contention between the India-Nepal relations since last few years. Treaty of Sugauli, because of the Kali River and the course that Kali River has changed. It has been a bone of contention between both the countries since last few years. Okay, so it's obviously becomes an important current affair. Treaty of Sugauli. We will read about the Treaty of Sugauli in detail in our live classes. Don't worry about it. Treaty of Sugauli 1814. Anglo-Nepal War, Lord Hastings. Okay. So, and one more thing. These are the brief introduction about all the Governor General that I will be talking about them. Okay. We have to read about them in very detail, each and every Governor General. And one more thing, it is clearly written in your CUT PG syllabus that all acts, it is clearly written. I have told you in first class when I took the class of syllabus discussion, if you guys remember. I have taken the class of syllabus discussion and it has been written very clear in your syllabus. If you read the all acts part include all the acts that I have been discussed earlier. Whether it's Regulating Act 1773, Pitt's India Act 1784, and the Treaty of Sugauli, Subsidiary Alliance, they all are important part for our exams. Okay, Treaty of Sugauli obviously becomes important because I have told you India-Nepal relations are not on the good terms since last few years because of the proximity of Nepal to China and the growing proximity between Nepal and China. It has become an important current affair for you also. Treaty of Sugauli, the Kali River, which I have told you about, it has been set as boundary. We will not discuss about it right now because it's a very detailed topic. Okay, Treaty of Sugauli, everyone remember? Okay, write it down in your notebooks. Treaty of Sugauli 1814, Anglo-Nepal War, Lord Hastings. ठीक है, कोई नहीं भूलेगा। चलिए अगला, सेंसरशिप एक्ट, ही अबॉलिश सेंसरशिप एक्ट। व्हाट इज सेंसरशिप एक्ट, व्हाट वाज अफेक्टेड बाय इट, and how it has affected the India-British relations at the colonial times. We'll discuss about it later. Third Anglo-Maratha War. Second Anglo-Maratha War we have discussed earlier during the Lord Wellesley. Third Anglo-Maratha War, Lord Hastings. Wars और गवर्नर जनरल्स, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है, क्वेश्चंस बन सकते हैं, कोई नहीं भूलेगा, ठीक है। स्टार लगा लेना अपने वॉर्स पे और गवर्नर जनरल्स पे, स्टार लगा के लिख लेना जितने भी लगाने हो, 4 5 6 7 8, बस भूलना मत, ठीक है। वॉर्स और गवर्नर जनरल्स, वेयर सेकेंड एंग्लो मराठा वॉर, एंग्लो मैसूर वॉर, ठीक है। लॉर्ड हेस्टिंग्स कौन से वॉर में थे, थर्ड कौन सा, एंग्लो मराठा, कौन सा वाला थर्ड, एंग्लो मराठा वॉर थर्ड, ठीक है, एंग्लो मराठा वॉर थर्ड। ध्यान दे रहे होंगे तो क्लास में याद हो जाएगा, लिखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, कभी नहीं भूलोगे, ठीक है। चलो अगले गवर्नर जनरल विलियम बेंटिंक, लाइक सॉरी, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट डियर फ्रेंड ऑफ राजा राम मोहन रॉय। राजा राम मोहन रॉय, one of the greatest social reformer that our country has seen, okay, because obviously we have seen why he is so important, but in recent years there has been a greater demand that Raja Ram Mohan Roy's character should be rechecked with the historical facts. That's a different debate between the historians. We didn't have any need to read about the rechecking of the Raja Ram Mohan Roy authenticity or what the work he has done regarding sati, or is he exaggerated the number of satis that were taking place. That's a different debate. Don't go into that because it's a very detailed and very different debate regarding your exams. Okay, we see about Lord William Bentinck right now. He was the first Governor General of India. फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, ये कैसे हो गया फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया? हमने तो फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल कुछ और पढ़ा था, यही गलती मत करना, ठीक है। फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ बंगाल, क्या पढ़ा था? फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ बंगाल वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स, ठीक है। फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया लॉर्ड विलियम बेंटिंक। कोई गड़बड़ मत करना, दोबारा बता रहा हूं, कोई गड़बड़ मत करना। फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया अगर पूछेंगे तो लॉर्ड विलियम बेंटिंक है, फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ बंगाल पूछेंगे तो वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स है। प्लीज कंफ्यूज मत होना, ठीक है। गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया अंडरलाइन कर लो, गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया नॉट बंगाल। फर्स्ट गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया लॉर्ड विलियम बेंटिंक। he has abolished sati in 1829, obviously through Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He abolished sati. What is sati? Obviously when the wife of a deceased husband has been forced to go into the funeral fire with the husband. So regarding sati there are a lot of debates. It is not necessary for our exams, okay. It has been a very heated topic in recent years that whether the figures that has been given by Raja Ram Mohan Roy are correct, or it is right to judge a country or a society just based on the facts given by one person about one area, or because his study was focused in Bengal only, he hasn't given data about whole of India, okay. That's a different debate, don't go into that. It's a very catching debate, that's why I keep mentioning it again and again. Sorry for diverging for the topic. Charter Act of 1833, very important act for our modern India. Charter Act of 1833, it has been passed during the governorship of Lord William Bentinck. Everyone will remember Charter Act of 1833, abolishing provincial courts. That's a very important step in the centralization of the power, okay. Like what is the centralization power or decentralization of power when it was started in the colonial empire? We will read about it, just write the point for now. Like he has abolished provincial courts. What's the difference between the provincial courts and the imperial court? We will read about them later. Just write down the point. Abolishing provincial courts. He has been abolished provincial courts. Okay, let's come to the next Governor General. Lord Auckland. He is a very interesting figure. What this guy has done, he has been responsible for first Anglo-Afghan war. Like first Anglo-Afghan war is like a stain on the British colonial empire, because this was the first war in I would say in centuries that British colonial empire, the mighty colonial empire, was shamed in the whole world. Like when they have gone with an army in the Afghanistan, like whole the Afghani Pathans and their kings, they have beaten up each and every Britisher that have gone to Afghanistan. Each and every soldier of British army, they have beaten them so badly that none of the soldiers have been survived. None of them. Just think about it. The world, the mighty British Empire, on which the sun never sets, Afghanis have beaten them so badly that not a single soldier survived. Just one soldier they have sent back. One soldier. That too to recite the story that what has happened to the remaining soldiers. And he was not even a soldier. He was a doctor that was sent with the army. Okay. That has happened during the first Afghan war. So the Lord Auckland also considered to be the one of the worst Governor General for the East India Company, because of his campaign of first Anglo-Afghan war. Okay, that's a different story. We will read about it in first Anglo-Afghan war. Like, so you can see why the Afghanistan is called the graveyard of empires. Okay, the graveyard of empire. There is a reason to call them as graveyard of empires. Treaty of Lahore and forward policy. These both are connected points. Forward policy, like what is forward policy? When the Lord Auckland has assumed the governorship, there has been rising threat from the Russia towards India. The British colonial empire was thinking that the Russia might invade India. Russia might invade India. And this forward policy is responsible that he has launched an attack on the Afghanistan to make it a protectorate state, just to be it a shield from the Russian invasion. Okay. And he has been responsible for Treaty of Lahore with Ranjit Singh also. He has signed a treaty with Ranjit Singh also to counter the threat that has been sending from the Russia. Okay, because Russia is always threatening on the borders of India. So that's why he has launched forward policy. Like if Russia is aggressing, we will also aggress from this side, and attack is the best form of defense. You have heard about it. I hope you have all heard about it, that attack is the best form of defense. Attack is the best form of defense. Attack is the best form of defense. That is the philosophy of forward policy. Okay. One of the most unsuccessful Governor General of British East India Empire, Lord Auckland. Okay. Now we come to the next, Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, very important figure of modern India again. Okay. You can think of his importance from the first point. He has been called as maker of modern India. You can think, maker of modern India. Such a huge title that can be given to a person, maker of modern India, because he has bring telegraph lines. Railway lines in India. Like what's the purpose of telegraph and railway lines to be inducted into India, that we will discuss in our live classes, because it's a very interesting topic, that why he has bring the railway lines in India. Okay. He has also introduced the doctrine of lapse. That has also become a part of causes of revolt of 1857. According to many historians, this was the principal reason of revolt of 1857. One of the principal reasons of revolt of 1857. Okay, doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lefts. What is the doctrine of lefts? I will tell you in very short. Like if some king is unable to produce a child of his own, then British Empire will took control of that empire. That's in very short and crisp intro of the doctrine of lefts. Remaining part we will discuss in our live classes because it's a very detailed topic, and as being a reason for the revolt of 1857, we'll also read in detail with regard to the revolt of 1857, that why it has been regarded as one of the major causes of revolt of 1857. Okay. Next point, Widow Remarriage Act 1856. This is also a cause of revolt of 1857, Widow Remarriage Act. It is a very controversial act at that time because widows remarriage is kind of prohibited in Hindu system at that time. Okay, widows have to live a life of ascetic at that time, and their remarriage was not allowed according to the Hindu systems. Okay, he has also enacted the Widow Remarriage Act. He has also established the PWD, which is very popular department in our government machinery today. One of the most important department also. PWD, Public Works Department. PWD. Was the founder of PWD? This guy. Okay, everyone will remember, I hope, Lord Dalhousie, maker of modern India. Now we come to the next. Lord Canning. Lord Canning, or many historians call him as Lord Cunning. Cunning as a fox. Okay, first Viceroy of India. Nobody will forget that he is the first Viceroy of India. Okay, he has assumed governorship in 1856 and he has been governor from 1856 to 62. Okay, first Viceroy of India. Nobody will forget the time period of Lord Canning, first Viceroy of India, revolt of 1857. He has handled the revolt of 1857. All the commanders were sent under him. He has handled the revolt of 1857 pretty well for the Britishers because he has been successful in Government of India Act 1858 also enacted during his governorship. Government of India Act 1858, obviously, I would say one of the landmark acts of the British colonial history. Landmark acts. We will read about the Government of India Act 1858 in really detail in our live classes. Next point, Indian Council Act 1861, which introduced the portfolio system. This can be a question in your exam. Okay, don't forget it. Which act introduced the portfolio system? It is the Indian Council Act 1861. Okay, if the question is which act introduced the portfolio system during the British Indian Empire, it is the Indian Councils Act 1861. Which is the act? Indian Councils Act 1861. Please make sure you are writing in your notebooks, underline it or make a star on it. Indian Councils Act 1861. Nobody will forget that. Okay, next point, IPC. We are still following the same IPC. Can you believe that? Like, it has been constituted in 1860s and we are still following the same IPC. There has been debates going on in the bureaucratic circles that we are amending the IPC very soon. Let's see when it will be amended. That is not our concern. Our concern is when IPC was passed. It was passed in 1860 during the governorship of Lord Canning. Okay, nobody will forget that. 1860 IPC was passed. Next Governor General. Last Governor General for today, Lord Mountbatten. Everyone is aware of this guy's face. Like, who can forget him? One of the dearest friend of Jawaharlal Nehru, Chacha Nehru, our first Prime Minister. One of the dearest friend of Nehru, and the last Governor General of Colonial India and the first Governor General of Independent India. Last Viceroy of Colonial India, first Governor General of Independent India. Okay. Who was the first Indian Governor General of India? Comment में लिख के बताना. Who was the first Governor General, Indian Governor General of India? Comment में लिख के बताना. Who was the first Indian Governor General of India? Okay. Dickey Butt Plan in 1947. I'll tell you in very short that what is the Dickey Butt Plan. According to this plan, the provinces which were in the India, they are free to leave the Indian Union. After independence, the provinces were free to leave Indian Union and they can decide their own future, and the Indian Union decide their fate will later. Okay, this is the Dickey Butt plan of Lord Mountbatten. It is obviously related to the balkanization of India. He want to do the balkanization of India. What is balkanization? We will obviously see in our live classes. What is balkanization? All the medals you are seeing on his jersey, na? Because he is a royal fellow. He is from the royal household, and he has also served at many prestigious position in the British Army. But those who do bad, karma hits back. Everyone knows that, na? Karma hits back. The person responsible for millions of lives lost during partition died through a bomb blast. You can see that. Karma hits back. Okay. Indian Independence Act in 1947, which provided for two dominion states, India and Pakistan. A painful chapter of Indian history. The partition of India. The man responsible for partition of India. Okay. So never forget, karma hits back. Never forget it. Na? He has died on a ship. Some Irish revolutionaries has thrown bomb on the ship and he has died on the ship itself. Well, that was the end of this man, Lord Mountbatten. He is an important figure for our exam. We'll read about in detail about him, like how is related to the what is balkanization, what is Dickey Butt plan, what is 3rd June plan, how he has choose Harold Radcliffe to draw the line, how his Radcliffe line was proposed and how it has been drawn, and it has caused a lot of havoc on the borders and caused a million of lives and creation of dominion states of India and Pakistan. We will read about it in our live classes because it's a very detailed topic. Okay, I hope everyone has made notes of each and every governor general that we have discussed. Okay, so these are our important governor general and viceroys of India. Now please keep learning, take care of yourselves, and thank you so much.